The Overstood Human Podcast. Unfiltered dialogue, real solutions, no labels. The Overstood Human Podcast exists to inspire people to live with strength, freedom, and a purpose in a world full of noise and division. We champion a life anchored in true health, strong family, personal sovereignty, and self-discovery, inspiring our listeners to thrive beyond the confines of the design system. Our mission is to inspire you to break free from mediocrity, think independently, and live a life of meaning, resilience, and impact. What is up, everybody? I am Frank Tortorici.
And my name is Sarah Green, and this is the Overstood Human Podcast.
All right, so we are back in the saddle today. Today's going to be a good one because it's one that I know gets so overlooked, and I'm sure you can agree with this, Sarah. And this is resistance training, physical activity. Health and wellness is a puzzle where there's multiple pieces that should be coming together for somebody to know what it's like to feel optimal health. And what I notice in the conversation of optimal health, it always seems to be that the arrows always point the conversation to, what do I eat? What can I take? And that always seems to be the common denominator. And people tend to overlook exercise as part of that equation. It's the food, it's the supplementation, it's the exercise. To me, that's the whole trinity of the physical, biological health and wellness of a human being. And it just tends to get overlooked a lot, so much. Sarah, in your practice, I mean, I know you're dealing with a lot of terminal, diagnosis, things of that nature, cancer. How much of a percentage are people focusing on strength training as something as a key piece of longevity? Because as we know, muscle is the key organ of longevity. So where does that fall into people's mindsets of people when you're speaking with a patient?
Yeah, it's not necessarily on the top of their list. It's on the top of my list for sure. It's critical, and we'll go through all the important things. But one thing also, when you get diagnosed with some kind of terminal illness, and you're kind of facing a life and death situation, the state of your mind is critical. And so it's a mind, body, soul, right? We can fix the body, but if the mind and the soul aren't fixed or corrected, it's not going to work. And so for me, and we'll go about other things, we'll talk about other important things, but what it does for the mind, clearing the mind, the endorphins, the adrenaline, it's so incredibly important. So strength training is vital. And my patients that continue with strength training, even during treatments, their outlook is much better, their physical appearance is much better, and they handle whatever treatment it is that we end up putting them through much better than someone who doesn't do that. So it's just, you've got to be able to stay healthy, stay fit while your body is trying to fight this.
Yeah. And when I look at my background, started out in the whole fitness mindset. And one of the things that intrigued me to bring me to where I was at now is because most people in the fitness world of things, they do not look at the quality of the food that they're eating or the quality of the supplements that they're taking. They're just concerned about how many grams of protein, what's the caloric density of it, how many carbs, how much sugar. And it's it goes back to that food pyramid where we touched on that just a few weeks ago, about the quality of things. So that was the big red flag that I saw in the fitness industry when I was really immersed in it back in the late 90s. And then what I see on the other side is in the holistic world, there's so many educators out there in our field of helping so many people to get healthy, because we always say health getting healthy is an inside job, right? It comes from the
Oh,
inside
sure.
out. And in the fitness world, it's like, as long as you look good and the optics are there, most of those people are dying inside because they're pumping their bodies with so much toxicity. But in the holistic world, they're focused on the nutrition, they're focused on the supplementation, they may be focused on, one thing we can't leave out of this too is this the spiritual essence of having faith, right? That's part
Yeah.
of that. When I say the Holy Trinity, those are the things, but the epicenter of it is obviously faith, right?
Hmm.
Um, so both sides are missing pieces of the puzzle here. And in my line of work as a functional diagnostic nutritionist, getting to work with people with terminal illnesses, people who are in remission, people who are just wanting to be healthy. Again, I'm not curing, or diagnosing anything. I'm helping them bring these pieces together of the Holy Trinity to
Hmm.
get them to live a healthier lifestyle. So one thing that's so important, building quality muscle tissue. All right, let's start there. As we age, no matter who you are, muscle will start to deteriorate as we age. That's a fact, right? So
Yep.
I always like to tell people, when you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s, those years are so crucial with having a focus on building muscle density, because throughout your mid to late 30s, that's when the hormones, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, start to really start on the come down, right? They're going to peak in the late teens, early 20s. And that's, again, depending on a person's lifestyle. You can have a 26-year-old who has rock bottom testosterone level because everything they eat, drink, and eats out of plastic, they're microwaving food, eating synthetic color dyes, everything that's just killing their hormones there. So, but
Hmm.
the standard of a healthy human being, the hormones are really starting that downward progression, and probably like that 32 to 34, 35-year-old range. Is that safe to say? Would
Yeah,
you
we
would you
say
agree with that?
1% per year after the age of 30, you
Hmm.
lose of everything. So by the age of 40, you've lost 10% of your kidney function, 10% of your liver function, 10% of your muscle mass. So it's 1% per year after the age of 30 is kind of
Textbook.
the what the method that we are taught.
Right, right. So, in knowing that, hearing that right out of Sarah's mouth right now, don't you think it's a wise decision to focus on building muscle tissue? Because as we age, that's going to deteriorate as the hormones start diminishing. And I always use the analogy, the more quality muscle you build throughout those earlier years, it's literally like depositing money into a retirement account for as you get older. That's the way
Yes.
I try to train people to look at this. It's not about looking in the mirror and looking like a buff Greek god or a goddess. It's about this functionality as we age, right? Because let's face it, as we age, the muscle tissue deteriorates. So, what do you think follows suit? If the muscle tissue is deteriorating, what happens to our bone density next?
Yep.
And this is really, something I like to drive to. I know typically I find, and maybe you can interject with this, but through my years of working with both men and women, tend to work more with women. um, Osteoporosis is a very big thing, especially for women, more than men. That's what I find. Is that safe to say?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
So, and it's like, as we age, the probability of falling or something like that, right, becomes greater. So, a brittle bones is not something that we want to strive to have as we get older, right? I mean, it's something
Right.
that we don't want to have, period. So the foundational essence of strength training is crucial. um, Muscle builds the bone density, but it also helps to kickstart the metabolism as well, right?
Mhm.
Like, when you have more muscle density, you are going to be burning more body fat, even while just sitting around, because your body's into more of a thermogenic state, right?
Mhm.
Um, so let's dive into that a little bit more, Sarah. I guess what do you see as a very beneficial approach for both male or female? Let's say I don't care about the age, 30s, 30s, 40s, whatever, somewhere in that age range, but maybe they're in remission.
Mhm.
Someone you've worked with. What do you think the logical approach should be for somebody like that, who's quote unquote in remission, but hasn't quite really married the holy trinity of all this? Like
Mhm.
where would you guide them? Or if you yeah, like where would you start with somebody like that just hasn't really honed in on that, I guess is my question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna push lifting weights, and again, start out slow, right? You can get a personal trainer to try to, if you really are starting from ground zero and you're not really sure what to do, get a personal trainer. They're not that expensive. Spend a couple times a week with them. You don't have to stick with them forever, but they'll teach you the proper way to lift weights, because preventing injury is also very important. And if you don't do it right, you can hurt yourself. And if you're new to it, you don't want to overdo it. I have a lot of patients, they go out and they do this really heavy workout and they're so sore, they're like, I'm never doing that again. So low and slow. But I try to push them at least 3 days a week. Get out there and work. I personally, I do different muscle groups with each time I go to the gym. I focus on a handful of muscle groups, but if someone's new at it, do a little bit in each group to slowly start to build yourself up. You'll notice a huge difference. You'll notice a difference in your flexibility. You'll notice a difference in your energy. You'll notice a difference in your physique, and you'll feel better. I mean, mentally, you'll feel better. So I'm at least 3 days a week. Spend 45 minutes to an hour. It's not that much time. Like, you've got to invest in your health now. Um, if you don't, I say this all the time too. If you are not healthy, it does nothing else matters. It doesn't matter how much
Mhm.
money's in your bank account. It doesn't matter what house you live in, what car you drive, what you own, vacations, who you're with. Like, nothing else matters if you're sick. And so invest in it now. It'll repay you big time. So that's huge. And I try to encourage my patients, even while they're going through treatments, to stick with going to the gym. Make sure that you're getting your exercise. Um, you will go through your treatments, whether it's more alternative holistic or you take a more Western medicine route. You will do better in your treatments if you've got some muscle mass to hold on to.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're gonna feel better mentally,
For sure.
100%. And I do want to touch on that too, and because this is something that I've seen in my almost 30 years of training people. Be careful too with who you work with, and what I
Sure.
mean is there, like anything in life, you get what you pay for. I'll put it
Mhm.
that way. And in today's day and age, anyone could get certified to become a trainer.
Mhm.
There's a lot of meathead mentality trainers out there,
Sure.
and they can hurt you. I mean, I've had to done. I've seen tragic things happen to people from being coached from people who just have that meathead mentality, right? This
Sure.
is about functionality. What I try to tell people is there's a difference between mirror muscles and functional muscles, and you definitely want functional muscles, not mirror muscles, because the mirror
Mhm.
muscles can't function well. You look at, like, I mean, I hate to even say like a professional bodybuilder, because those guys are just like walking lab science projects. But you take like Mr.
Yeah.
Olympia and ask him to go on a 2 mile run with you, he's not going to be able to do that.
Sure. Sure.
By halfway into the first mile, he's going to be huffing and puffing, because
Yeah.
it's just, it's a different functionality of the body. Um, and when you're working out, it is all about angles, structure, and form.
Yep.
That's a big thing too. Um, Today's day and age, there are so many people that are like, oh, well, why do I need to work with you if I can just go on ChatGPT and get it to write a workout program? And ChatGPT is not going to know where you're at, right? If you're a
Mhm.
beginner, intermediate, or advanced level, you can't just come from couch potato to what ChatGPT says. There's no human understanding of that, of where you're at.
Mhm.
And the most important thing is there's no one helping you with your form. And always
Mhm.
like the greatest thing I like to tell people is like a great example, like a simple move is like a bicep curl. Somebody can be doing a bicep curl, and as they get fatigued, if you see from the side, their traps start coming up and they start rocking and doing this. And you start to see when they come down, they don't even come down all the way, they stop here. The traps come in and they kind of pull from here. And then
Mhm.
before you know it, who the hell wants posture when they're just standing naturally, kind of like this? The shoulders, they're more concave and the shoulders are up, and that's their form. And then before you know it, you start experiencing lower back pain, hip pain, your abdomen is kind of blown out looking. You start having a distended belly because you're building all that muscle tissue into this type of a positioning. And that's just one of so many examples.
Mhm.
So I always try to tell people, look at look at the weights that you're lifting as kind of like something to sculpt your body with, like an artist would who's like sculpting a piece of art out of clay, kind of a thing. Because that's
Mhm.
basically what you're doing. It's not just about like, oh, I did my workout today. It's about the quality of the workout that you're doing. Okay. So many conversations I have with people, and tell me if you hear this, Sarah. I love this one. Well, I work out for 45 minutes a day, 4 times a week. But it's like, my question to you is, what did you do in those 45 minutes?
Sure.
Right? How many times did you go to the gym and you see that person on the treadmill, just on the treadmill, walking at like 1.0, and then
Yeah.
45 minutes is
All the
done, and then you'll
time.
talk to them and they're like, I worked
Yeah.
out today. And
Yeah.
like, that's a workout? Like, that's not a workout. So the quality of what you can do, and listen, guys and girls, you don't need a gym. That's the beauty of it.
Sure.
I mean, I've taught seminars, 6-hour seminars on just body weight exercises. That's it.
Mhm.
Learn to master your body weight. If you can't master your body weight, you really have no business trying to lift heavy weights in the gym anyway, because mastering your body weight is foundational. That's the
Mhm.
foundation. You wouldn't you can't build a house without pouring, having the foundation there. So it's the
Mhm.
same kind of mindset, because again, to your point of what you said before, Sarah, this is about doing it, but reducing your risk of injury while doing it. If you do a
Sure.
workout and you're hurt and you can't go back the next day or 2 days later, then you did something wrong. There's a difference between
Mhm.
muscle soreness and joint pains, right? Like,
Mhm.
you don't want the joint pains, but the joint pains come when you do not know what you're doing. So
Yeah.
it's a lot more in depth than just being like, I worked out today. No, it's literally the quality that matters.
Mhm.
And there's so many arrows now pointing, and I want you to see if you can kind of take us into this conversation now, Sarah, on muscle being the godfather organ of longevity. Why? Scientifically, I guess. I mean, we know, the hormones, the bone density, things like that, but Um, let me ask you this. What correlation is there with building quality muscle and strength to your heart? If you can kind of like
Yeah.
take people into that.
It's a direct correlation.
Hmm.
So it's all intertwined. I mean, our bodies, and I hate medicine. We've got all these different specialists. So this is wrong. So we're going to send you here. This is wrong. We're going to send you here. It's one unit. We're all one unit. So building muscle is going to increase your mental health. It's going to increase your cardiovascular health. It's going to help with hormone regulation. It's going to help with your sleep, which is vital. It's going to help with metabolism. I mean, all of these things, joint strength. Um, if you, when you're fit, physically fit, muscle wise, and you're right, like the big macho muscles, those people are probably some of the most unhealthy
Hmm.
um, people on this walking this planet right now. But you can sustain a fall. Not that we're wanting that, but I see people that have injuries and they're physically fit and they have very mild, um, they they pulled a muscle or something. And then I see others who aren't physically fit, same fall, and they've totally obliterated their bone. So it's all intertwined. If your cardiovascular's better, your metabolism's better, your bone density is better, your hormones are better, your sleep is better. Like it's all one network. We're all one network. So you're going to there's nothing that's going to everything's going to improve. There's nothing that's not going to improve if you start working out. And you're right, it's just your own body weight. You don't need weights. Building muscle mass. It's going to prolong telomeres. It's going to keep. It's an anti-aging workout. Building your muscle. I'm a runner. I love to run races. I love to run marathons. And I know when I'm training for my marathons, I have to be even more involved in my strength training because I don't want to lose those muscles. Those muscles are what's going to keep me going for those distances. So I know how important it is. And I try to stress that. And I think that like you can get on an elliptical machine and sure you're working cardiovascular, but there's no weight bearing. That's actually eating away at your bone. Not that it's not even helping bone density, but it's actually eating away. Riding a stationary bike, and I'm not trying to deter people from doing it, but if you think that you're building bone mass by sitting on a stationary bike, different when you're on the road bike, right? Because you've got to withstand different levels of friction and your hills and all this stuff. But when you're on a stationary spinning bike or an elliptical, you're burning bones. You're not building bones. So it's got to be something with impact. You got to have some impact.
Yeah, and when it comes to the conversation of cardio, we touched on this a little bit off camera. You know, look at the difference of a physique from a long distance runner to a short distance runner. So that's what I try to tell people too. When we talk about cardio, look, getting on a treadmill, doing elliptical for 30 minutes at like the same pace, of course, amazing. Like in the sense of like, it's either that or if you were sitting on the couch watching a movie, definitely you should be doing that. Are you reaping benefits cardiovascular? Yes. Is your heart getting, blood pumping? Yes. But in due time, like the body adapts to things very easily when it comes to physical fitness. Okay. Which is why, again, even when you're doing cardio, interval training is so much more beneficial. 15 minutes of interval opposed to somebody doing 30 to 45 minutes of the same interval the whole time. It's a night and day difference with the amount of calories you're going to burn, the muscle that you will preserve it's night and day difference, and again, it goes back to that's why you need to either know what you're doing or have somebody help you that knows what they're doing, because your body will plateau. It will acclimate. There's the whole concept of muscle confusion. Put it this way. If you go into a workout, I don't care what it is, and mentally you're like, oh, I'm just bored of this. I really don't want to do this today. Like if your mind is there, know that your body is there just as well, and it's not going to respond. And that's where people get discouraged and they end up giving up. So the first, when a person starts to work out, the first couple of weeks, month or two, they're at an all-time high because they're feeling it. But if they don't know how to progress through this thing, overload, drop the load, if they don't know how to do any of that, they're going to get burnt out, and their body gets bored, their mind gets bored, and they're done. And, especially this is a common thing for women. This is really directed towards women, the statement that I'm going to make, because women have this mindset of I always hear this, I don't want to get bulky. I don't want to build too much muscle. Like I hear that all the time. And I'm here to relieve every single woman's mind right now by letting you know that it is a lot of men, because us men always want quality, like hard muscle tissue. It's hard to build a lot of muscle. Okay. Like when you're young, your first year of training, your body will really respond. But then after that, if you gain 2 to 4 pounds of like quality muscle in a year, that's good. Like that's good. So this whole mindset of like, I don't want to get too big. First of all, in order to get like really big, you have to eat a lot of calories. Like that's the other thing too. Like you could lift heavy and still not get bulky because the bulkiness is going to come from your diet more than even the weight training, believe it or not. And
Sure.
it's a huge misconception that people have. That's why if you look at like bodybuilders or power lifters, they're literally eating every 2 hours, like 7 or 8 meals a
Mhm.
day, because that's where you put the weight on.
Mhm.
That's the holy grail of like a bodybuilder. You want to get big, you got to eat big to get big. So
Mhm.
if you're eating good quality foods and, practicing intermittent fasting, eating high quality, low carb, low sugar, and just getting lean proteins, and you're just feeding the muscle tissue, you will get lean, low body fat, and you will be able to achieve the type of physique that you're looking to achieve, which most people that I know, 9 out of 10, want to be lean and tight and form fitted and not bulky.
Mhm.
So that's how you achieve that. The bulkiness is going to come from the diet. So you can put your mind at ease with that concept, especially for most women, because that's one thing I hear. I hear that all the time from women. That's their biggest fear, of
Sure.
getting bulky, and it's so hard to do that. It's so hard to do
Sure.
that. Um, and then it segues into this other part of grip strength. There's a lot of data coming out about grip strength and heart health. Um, the rule of thumb is that you should be able to dead hang from a pull-up bar. Okay, for most men, it should be 2 minutes or longer. For women, I think the stat is around like a minute to like a minute and 25 seconds, a complete dead hang. And what
Mhm.
they're finding is grip strength, because the extremities are so much more further from the heart, that it's a key indicator of overall heart health and longevity when you're able to do something like that. Or I think the other one is a farmer's carry, which is you would have one dumbbell in each hand, and I think it has to total half of your body weight, and you should be able to carry that for, I think it's, again, it varies man to woman, but it's like 2 minutes or a certain amount of meters. We should be able to carry that. So it goes back to the grip strength. So that's another foundational important piece of the puzzle here, of grip strength, that's important for overall longevity and heart health. Again, our heart is a muscle. If we don't
Yeah.
use it, we lose it.
Yeah.
It's very simple, right? So and this kind of, we talked about this, and we'll get that episode out too. And I know you and I saw a little difference of opinion on that, but when it comes to these GLP-1 drugs, those, that's a big fear of mine. If it's deteriorating muscle tissue, then your heart is a muscle. What are we doing here? Like I think it was a week or two ago, Oprah Winfrey, who, yeah, anyway, she was on The View. She was on The View, which is another, anyway, and she's promoting her new book on weight loss. And it's like, okay, all right. So here we go again. We have Oprah Winfrey giving health advice. And someone sent me a
Mhm.
clip, and I'm trying to remember it correctly, but she's saying that when she was obese, she wasn't obese because she's obese. She had the hormone of obesity, of hunger, at an all-time high in her. So it wasn't until she started taking Ozempic, I don't know what she's on, that she was able to kill that hunger hormone, and now she's like found her saving grace, in a sense. But she's on the show saying that she wants to create some sort of a movement to get insurance companies to completely cover these drugs for people, because it's a necessity. Now, again, I mean, I understand the point of view that you presented in that episode. I totally get it. I get it. I do. You converted me to that. I get it. But if we're going to have somebody of that kind of media power pushing for that, I hope that the Overstood Human podcast can get to a place to where we can have a voice of that magnitude to push for quality of food accessible to each and every person, right?
Yeah.
Um, Gym memberships being
Yes.
given, let's talk from that vantage point. And if all that is exhausted, okay, then let's go to the drugs. But like, let's exhaust all of this first, is my
Mhm.
point of view. And so when I hear things like that getting pushed through the airwaves, saying a person like that saying that, it 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 drives me crazy, because there, and ironically, this week I had a consultation with somebody who's on them, who reached out to
Mhm.
me because they saw one of my videos on them and they were interested in like understanding other things that they can do. And after spending an hour with this person on the consultation and explaining my philosophy and how I approach things, I was told from a person who's taking those drugs that my approach is too radical and she'd rather stay with that. And now this is a person who's just relying on the drugs to lose weight and just going
Mm.
for a brisk walk at night, and in her mid 40s, no physical injuries, um, completely functional and capable to do the things that we're discussing here today of resistance
Mhm.
training, but has no interest in it.
Yeah.
So that's where I find it becomes a slippery slope within our society, because everyone is looking for the magic pill or injection, right? And
Sure.
you know, and this is what I think is so important for, like, say, like your patients, right? Someone who's in either fighting cancer or in remission from it. Because what you're teaching them lifestyle longevity, right? And in order for
Mhm.
them to be able to make this work for the rest of their life,
Mhm.
they have to find discipline within themselves. And in order to make these patterns and habits as regular
Mhm.
as waking up in the morning and brushing their teeth, right?
Right.
I know too many people that are in remission of cancer and barely exercise. They follow the food, but they still have days where they let loose a little bit. And I mean, Sarah, I think we can agree on this. Would committing to exercise 3, 4, 5 days a week, what is that? Let me ask you that. What does that give Sarah Green by committing to that 3, 4, 5 days a week of training? What does that do for you mentally and just who you are as a person?
Oh gosh, it keeps me going. If I miss a couple days at the gym, I'm not the same person. My kids will tell you, and they're like, "Mom, you got to go work out. Just go clear your head. Go.
Hmm.
It's my time with God. It's my time to de-stress. It's my time to focus and think. And I'm doing all these things while my body is just, it's my happy place. It really is. Um, has it always been? No. And it takes commitment and repetition. I've been hitting the gym since I was probably 13, though. So it's not like this is something that,
Hmm.
although it's never too late to go,
Right.
but it's just something that was important to me from a very young age. And if I miss, I hit the gym on Sunday and then didn't work out again till Thursday. And those 3 days in between was, I mean, I couldn't focus. I'm not sleeping well. And yes, you have to. There's something this is the biggest. I don't want to say excuse, but excuse from my patients is I don't know where to fit it in. I get up early in the morning. I get ready for work. I'm at work until 6 or 7. I got to come home and X, Y, and Z. You have to make it a priority. So I will. I'm up at 4:45. I hit the gym before I go to work, or I go to my trainers before I go to work. If I can't do that, I will stay after work and make sure that that's something that I do. So you have to, I don't, my TV's never on. I know people that come home, they want to watch TV and relax. Switch that. Take away your TV time and have that be your gym time. If you've got kids and you've got a family, make it a family thing. If you're like, well, I want to spend more time with my kids, bring your kids. I bring my kids. They come with me to my trainers. They come with me to the gym. We do like family Friday gym night. So instill in them the education and the training at a young age, and they're going to follow suit. But you have to make it a priority. And when I miss the gym for whatever reason, um, 3 days, I'm I'm a whole different person. I have to get back in there. I have to, whatever it is. It clears my head. It helps me refocus, and I sleep better. I eat better. I think better. I've got clearer mindset. I'm just a happier person. And I there's no I can't I wouldn't be able to do what I do and handle my busy daily activities, my busy tasks at work if I did not find time to work out.
Hmm. And are there days where you just don't feel like doing it, but what you still follow through with it?
Um, if my mindset's going to, to have a workout in, I'm going.
Hmm.
There's not often days that I don't feel like doing it. There's days that I just can't make it into the gym.
Hmm.
And those are not my happy days.
Yeah.
So it makes it, and I like doing it first thing in the morning. It's almost, I'm a coffee drinker. It's like my cup of coffee in the morning. It's how
Hmm.
I start my day. If I have to wait until the end of the day to work out, and I know a lot of people like the end of the day workouts, um, I feel like I haven't completed my task list if that's
Hmm.
still sitting at the bottom of my to do, because I'll get
Yeah,
it
there's something
done.
missing, right?
There's something missing. If I can
Yeah.
check that off, I always say, if I get a good gym workout in, or whatever, you don't even have to go to the gym, a good workout in, nothing else matters. The world could completely fall apart, and I'm able
Hmm.
to mentally, physically, and emotionally handle the stress of the day. If I
Yeah.
don't get that in, I have a completely different reaction to something that I would have a better response to had I exercised my body.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something to be said about, like, people think I'm crazy. I love feeling muscle soreness the next day. I love it. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, like I love when I stretch. I'm like, like I like that feeling. It's a reminder of, like, you did you fought adversity the day before. To me, like,
Hmm.
that's what it, like, because, look, none of us humans are designed for easy lives, right? If we take the path of easy all the time, we die. Like, we
Right.
need we need to overcome things. That's the human spirit. And to me, exercise, specifically resistance training, is such a metaphor for life, right? It's like you're fighting against something heavy, and boom, there's growth. Like, you're growing. Like, you see that biologically, right? You get to see that and experience that. And then mentally, like you said, it's your time with God. Like, I'm the same way. Like, I work out in the morning. uh I have not been to a gym since COVID, and that's not, I just got into this rut, this pattern now, where I built a home gym in my garage, and I
Mhm.
love having my own space. Like, I miss the camaraderie of a gym and all that, but I got to a point too, and I think we've talked about this before, but there's a lot of, I call them chatty patties at the gym. you know
Yes. Yes.
Even if you have the headphones on, they'll like,
Yes.
what's up, like, and I'm like, I'm trying to do something here. Try not to be
Yes.
rude.
It's
But,
not a
like, when
social
I
club.
yeah, when I and I know this is you, because when you said that, it's like, okay, she gets it, like, in that sense. Like, when I'm working out, it's meditation in motion, right?
Mhm.
Like, I'm not focused on the outside world. um in between sets, I'm with my thoughts, right? Of maybe what I do have to do later, but it's you versus you, especially when you're alone in your garage, and you just have,
Sure.
you have your workout stations and all that. I usually will listen to sermons or motivational speeches or just praise music, and you're sometimes you'll get touched by the Holy Spirit in between a set. You get goosebumps, you get teary-eyed, and then you go back.
Mhm.
So there's so many, like, elements to this that feed you, right?
Yeah.
um and again, it's back to what I said earlier. Like, you don't need all these monstrosity pieces of equipment. I mean, I literally train people on Zoom with a yoga mat and their own body weight, and then other people that want to invest in things, a medicine ball, a kettlebell, maybe some of those adjustable dumbbells. And that's all you need. I mean, I myself have adjustable dumbbells. I have a pull-up dip rack station. I have a rower, a Rogue
Mhm.
rower, some resistance bands, a couple of kettlebells, and it's again, volume, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that's what I do with my clients, and what I do with myself. Like, you should be able to hit high volume workouts. and quick and effectively with proper form. And that is the key. And when people tell you, when you said that before, I wanted to point this out. I love when people say they don't have the time, right? I saw something the other day. Somebody sent me this article, Nielsen, which is like they do all the ratings for like television and like what the ratings are. Do you know the average person between phone and television are spending 6 to 7 hours per day in front of a screen?
It's disgusting.
That's the average person.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
6 to 7 hours a day, and you're going
Yeah.
to tell me that you don't have time for a kick-ass 30 to 60-minute workout per day?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You have to make it a priority. Yeah, you have
Right?
to.
Right?
You have
It's
to.
it's you know, it's like you hear this even with our relationship to God.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, like our life needs to revolve around God, not that
Yeah.
we try to fit life. It's like God is the epicenter and then life can just work around it. But when people say they don't have time to pray, go to church or just sit still,
Yeah.
like everyone says the excuse they don't have the time. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
everything of this human experience needs to be worked around that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like the same thing with exercise. Kudos to you, Sarah, because there's many a days I just do not want to work out, like at all. Like mentally, I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. Like I have no desire to do this. But it's I've been doing it like you. I started at
Mm-hmm.
12, 13 years old. I mean, I did my first all natural bodybuilding contest at 15. So I'm 47 now. So this has been my life. So
Mm-hmm.
I always say, I use the analogy, it's like waking up and brushing your teeth in the morning. Like in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to do this, but like I just find myself putting on my sweatpants, putting on and you just do it. You just do it. And I think Andrew Huberman touched on this study that they did on like the frontal cortex of the brain, how when people do things that they do not want to do, it does something with it growing that portion of the brain. And it's that portion of the brain that leads to people who become more leadership, successful, other successful habits, because you're fighting the resistance in a sense. You're doing things that you do not want to do. And I love Mike Tyson's quote of discipline. Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Sure.
And
It's
and that's the
perfect.
key with this. You know, like my routine, I do pre-cooling before I work out. So not only if I'm not in the mindset of working out, but now I have to attack an ice bath before I go into my
Mm.
workout, because there's a lot of data that shows now too that when you do cold exposure pre-workout, it actually stimulates and is increasing testosterone levels. When you do it post-workout, it actually decreases testosterone levels, and
Hmm.
because it's reducing the inflammation. So I do my ice baths pre-workout. I do it, 3.5 to 4 minute ice bath in 31-degree water, dry off, dress up, go right into the workout. And it's amazing. That's my pre-workout. I can't drink any kind of caffeine or stimulants because of the Tourette's. It just wigs my nervous system out. So my pre-workout is the cold exposure. It gets the adrenaline pumping, the endorphins, and it's crazy how much more volume you can pump out coming out of an ice bath for a workout. So my
Sure.
point in saying all that is we must attack the things that we just do not want to do, because it translates into so many other areas of our lives. Um, you know, I think it's safe to say, like, as successful as you are in your line of work, Sarah, you probably wouldn't be able to handle the type of hours and volume that you're doing on a day-to-day basis if you weren't who you were behind closed doors and becoming who you are in here. Is that am I right in saying
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. Yes. I wouldn't, I mean, I have to separate myself and it's feeding my brain, it's feeding my muscles, it's feeding my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I would be a completely different person. I'm not a good
Yeah.
injury person, that's for sure. If I've got something
Oh my
that
God.
that I'm,
Yeah.
that if I've got some injury, watch out because It
I
is
know.
not a happy place. I don't do injury well because I have to hold back on certain things. I want to applaud you too. So for me and like my mindset, and maybe it's just because I've got so many kids at home and grandbaby and stuff, but
Mm,
I've got things I can do at home. I have to, and so everybody's different, but I have to
yeah.
like take myself out of
Mhm.
my house, right? I could look and
Mhm.
go, well, there's laundry to fold and there's dishes to do and there's floors to vacuum and there's mouths to feed. And so for me to
Yeah.
be able to really tap into where I can actually reset, because it is a reset button and we all
Yep.
have to reset. Resetting every
Yep.
day is vital for your health. I have to take myself out of that environment. During COVID, when gyms
Mhm.
weren't open and stuff, I basically, even finding weights was so difficult. But I had
Yeah.
basically a set up home gym. I didn't have an option. That's where I did it. But for me and myself, and maybe there's others out there, I have to I have to drive myself. My gym's only a
Mm,
few minutes away, but um, that's how I start. And I'll start even in the car with music that I'm listening to. It's all Christian music, set my mind up. You know, people are like, you listen to
mhm.
that? That's what you're pumping muscles to? And I'm like, yeah, it is all interconnected. So that's how I do it. I have to
Yeah.
applaud you on yours, because if I had a gym in my garage, I probably wouldn't use it. I
Mm,
need to, that's just how my training is and it's ingrained in
yeah.
me. I'm sure I could take that out, but but no, it's your reset button. You have to reset
Reset.
your
Yeah.
phone, you have to reset your computers, you have to reset your body. And
Yeah.
that's that restart.
Yeah. And again, yeah, different strokes for different folks, but the main thing is that you get it done. I don't care how you
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah.
And getting it done means getting it done effectively and properly, right?
Hmm.
There's 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 a science to everything that we do, right? So
Sure.
if you do not know what you're doing, and you need to seek either the right help or partner up with somebody that knows what they're doing. But listen, everyone needs a coach somewhere along the line in their life. If you're lacking in a certain area, I've had many business coaches, spiritual coaches, never had them from fitness because that's been my lane.
Sure.
um, there's no shame in that. Some of the most powerful people in the world, the most successful people, have their own coaches. You need someone that can see the things that you're unable to see in that present moment of your life. It's very important,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
Um, so the exercise for longevity is key. And again, I just think it's so important for anyone that is in remission of anything to take this seriously. And that's definitely my mission, because I'm so immersed in the holistic health world. And I really am trying as best as I possibly can to bring this into the conversation. I just, again, as I said earlier, there are so many people, let's say on social media, that are spewing vital health information, but not touching this subject.
Hmm.
And this has to, they marry one another. The physical fitness marries what you're eating and what you're taking.
Hmm.
And one of the other important things too that I think we should touch on before we wrap this up, we're telling you to strength train. We're telling you to work out 3 to 4 days a week. Do it smart, hit it intense, high volume, go to the gym, work out at home, all that. Another important piece of that puzzle is the recovery as well. Okay. Um, all you're doing when you're doing resistance training is you're tearing muscle tissue. Like with every
Hmm.
rep, tear. You're digging into those muscle fibers. And then when you put the nutrition back in the body, it's helping to repair those muscle tissues. So that's
Hmm.
one aspect of it. But then nurturing your body afterwards, whether it's massage, whether it's an infrared sauna and stretching.
Hmm.
Um, there's gyrotonics, which is another great mechanism for opening up the body. I have an acupressure mat at home that I use. I use that 3 to 4 days a week that I lay on for about an hour at night before bed. It's just very calming. We need to reduce inflammation
Yeah.
whenever and wherever we can as well. So the exercise is one aspect, but the recovery is just as important in helping to reduce that inflammation. What I want to ask you, Sarah, because I want people to hear that it's important. They know what I do on that front. What do you do in that sense to help your body recover and rebound and be ready to do it again the next day or the day after?
Yeah, well, real quick, and I'll get into what I do, but it's also important to not overstress a muscle. So if you're going to work your biceps and back or whatever,
Hmm.
the next day you don't go work those same muscle groups,
Hmm.
right? You've got to
Hmm.
allow for the time of the healing of that muscle. So you can over exercise too. You can overtrain. And when you
Absolutely.
overtrain, you lead yourself to injury. So
Hmm.
for me, I will typically hit legs once every 3 days. I will do back and bi on the other, and then I'll do chest, tries, and shoulders. So I break up abs every day. But
Hmm.
that's kind of how I flow is my muscle. I pick muscle groups that I'm going to hit on, and I do 3 or 4 exercises with that particular muscle group. And then I don't retest those muscles for several days.
Hmm.
Um,
Smart.
but red light therapy, I bought myself this amazing red light mat that I lay on almost every day, plus or minus taking some methylene blue, because I think that that really helps in the electron transport chain. We can
Hmm.
get some naysayers on that, but it does
Hmm.
help. Yeah, it's synthetic, but it's very, very important. And most people with ATP and mitochondrial dysfunction, it's critical for that. So I'll typically take a methylene blue 30, 45 minutes before I lay on my red light mat. I have an
Hmm.
amazing, basically, rebounder machine that's massive at my office. I try to get on that at least once a day. Open up your lymphatic drainage mechanism. Massage, yes. Meditation, yes. Hot tub,
Hmm.
yes. I've done a little bit of the cold plunges. I hate
Hmm.
cold. Do I feel like yeah, I mean, all the blood in your body basically goes away from your extremities and sits at the core because
Hmm.
that's the most important part to get oxygen. So you can feel that.
Hmm.
So kudos to you for doing that before you work out. I've done it a few times. It's not my favorite thing, but again, these are things that you have to start training yourself to enjoy, right? Nobody's like at the beginning going, I love working out. So
Well, I
like,
got to
I don't
pause you
want to
there.
go.
I
Yeah.
hate taking ice baths. I don't love any part of it. I just love
Yeah.
how I feel afterwards. So go ahead.
Yes.
But
And I
I
say
hate
this
it.
often at the gym. I said the best part about the gym is walking out when you're
Oh
done,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it feels so good that the hour and a half, I go usually an hour and a half, my hour and a half while I'm there, it all makes up for it when I grab my keys and I get a walk out. Although I love challenging myself. And it is, if you're someone that needs support in that, like find a workout buddy. I know when I
Mm,
hired my personal trainer, my body completely changed because things that not that I didn't think I could do, but not having a spotter to push that extra
mhm,
rep to put on a little bit of extra weight, I didn't, I wasn't fatiguing my muscles out to a point where I could get regrowth. It
mm,
was doing where I know I was comfortable, still pushing myself, but not to the point of exhaustion or fatigue.
mhm,
So find, and if you need accountability, I don't, but I know people that are like, I need to be going to a class. I
right,
need to have someone push me. Great. If
mhm,
that's your personality, find someone. There's so many other people that work like that. So get a workout partner that can actually challenge you, push you, spot you. Those are when you push yourself beyond what you think you can do, that's where the growth takes place, right? If you're like, I know I got to do 10 reps, 3 sets. No, push it to
mhm,
fatigue, to failure. That's where that growth, and where that growth goes in every aspect of your life, not just your muscles, but red light therapy, very important. Rebounding or vibration or, meditation, groundwork, massage, super important. And I'm a big creatine fan, and we haven't
mm,
dove into that at all, but
yeah,
um, I I definitely take it on days that I'm working out. I should
mhm,
probably take it on days that I'm not, just for your mental health, muscle strength.
yeah,
But if you're going to plan on losing weight, you want to go on a weight loss program. you have to add muscle building to that weight loss program.
Yeah.
You're going to lose muscle regardless of how you do it, whether it's a GLP-1 or you just change in the way that you live, what you eat. Um, if you don't put weightlifting into it, you will lose your muscle. And your muscle is the thing that you got to keep. Lose that fat, retain that muscle.
Yeah. And one of the misconceptions people have again is just that they, the lifting aspect. And what I mean by that is, again, it's the intensity in which you hit things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll take clients through this again, depending on where they're at. It's different for every client because everyone's at a different place. But like for me, for example, I like you. I'll train 4 days a week, but like on Sundays I just do rowing with just some ab calf work, things like that. But Mondays when it starts, it's back, biceps, abs, calves, and light cardio at the end. Tuesday is chest, shoulders, abs. I always hit abs and calves because those muscles can take a lot of high volume, right?
Yes.
Wednesday is legs and triceps, and then abs, calves. Thursday is off, and then Friday I do a circuit of the whole body with just resistance bands, very light. But what I do is, like this week, for example, is my 200 rep week. Rep week. Say that fast. So what I mean by that is every body part gets hit with 200 reps this week. The following week is 300 reps per body part. The following is 400 reps per body part. Then I
Wow.
cycle back down to 200. So if I'm doing that much volume, even on the 200, I'm not lifting that heavy. Like I
Sure.
don't lift heavy. I go for the volume. And when you're doing volume, that's when you're going to gain more of that lean muscle mass. And because you're doing a lot of volume, you're burning more body fat. It's
Mm-hmm.
again, the bulking bodybuilding mentality is hit a heavy set of reps. And then because you hit really heavy, then you need to rest 2 to 3 minutes in between sets and then do it again. When I
Mm-hmm.
work out, I'm lucky if I'm resting 30 seconds to 45 seconds in between set, and then it's on to the next one, on to the next one. Just going
Mm-hmm.
for that muscle fatigue, muscle fatigue, muscle fatigue, muscle fatigue. That's what I'm looking for. I think Muhammad Ali said it. What does he say? He doesn't, I'm paraphrasing it. I'm totally trashing it, but it's something along the lines of like, he doesn't know that the end of a set is approaching until the muscle starts hurting. So in other words, like you're not marrying yourself to the numbers, right? So like
Sure.
I'll go into my sets of like, I'm going to do a minimum of 25 reps to set. So I'm looking for that deep burn. I want that endurance in the muscle. And that's what's going to help you if you want to do a marathon, if you want to go
Mm-hmm.
rowing, jogging, right? Like you need endurance in the muscles. That's very important because as we age, that endurance in us diminishes as well. We want to be able to withstand being under tension in a sense for longer periods of time because that's going to build the muscle, but also your heart. If it's under tension for longer periods of time, it knows how to acclimate and adapt and work through the pain. And that's a very, very important thing to remember for everybody, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what level that you're at.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, going and
So
one thing real quick. So
yeah.
not pausing too much in between, you're getting cardiovascular exercise while you're weight training, right? You're killing two
Hmm.
birds with one stone. So people that sit and I gotta wait a minute or 2 minutes or whatever, and they're going for it, they're training for something totally different, but training or doing reps to failure, instead of having this mindset, I'm gonna do 10, where you probably could have done 20 or 30,
Hmm.
you cut yourself short. For me, at the gym, if I'm at the gym or I'm working out, I'm not there to waste time. I'm not there to
Right.
chat. I'm not there to socialize. I'm not there to hang out with people. Like I want to go in. I don't want anyone talking to me. No offense to all the people I know at the gym. But I want to get in there and I want to get out of there because it's that's my mindset. And so
Hmm.
having a mindset where I'm going to do 10 sets instead of saying I'm going to go until I can't, um, you're going to get a different outcome for
Hmm.
sure.
Yep. Yep. And I guess just in closing, what I want to say, and then you could give your closing thoughts on this. Um, as we always say with everything pertaining to health, literally nothing is a one size fits all, right?
Hmm.
So many people always approach me, hey, can you write me a program? If I've never worked with you, I can't write you a program because I don't know where you're at. So
Sure.
it goes to show, like, somebody can download a workout from ChatGPT or a trainer on Instagram, and to your point, they could do a set and then rest 90 seconds because that's what it says, but maybe their body doesn't even feel like it needs that 90 seconds, but they're still doing it. So the takeaway from this is I want everybody listening to this to take exercise as serious as it's like a prescription that we need to
Yeah.
learn to cultivate to write for ourselves. And if you don't know how to, then get the right help to do it. This is the
Hmm.
reason why so many gyms prosper off of people who have gym memberships and never show up,
Oh,
because
sure.
you get burnt out, or you're doing it completely wrong and you get discouraged because you're not getting the results that you want. But
Hmm.
if you looked at this as serious as type of a medication, following the instructions properly and
Hmm.
adapting to what your body needs, that's where the results will come, and you'll thrive. And this will become a never-ending love story that you have with yourself and exercise for the rest of your life. That's what
Yeah.
it takes in order to make this become something that it is in my life and Sarah's life. So Sarah, I don't know if you have any other closing thoughts for them.
Yeah. No, I want to encourage everybody. It does not matter how old you are, right? It doesn't matter how out of shape you are. I think that we probably will get people that go, well, look at you guys. You've been doing this forever. You got to start somewhere. No one becomes a
Mhm.
master at anything by not starting, right? You have
Yeah.
nothing to lose and everything to gain. So get out there, push yourself. You can do it. And I often tell people too who want results right away, I'm like, it was not overnight that you became overweight and out of shape. That was years of abuse to the body.
Mhm.
So don't expect something to change immediately. It's going to take time to see those results. But as soon as you start seeing those results, it's going to give you more motivation to keep going. So again, don't get frustrated and annoyed because you are starting literally at square one and you've got, I don't know what to lose, or you're cardiovascular, whatever. You got to start. You'll
Mhm.
never win if you don't start. And then don't get discouraged when you don't see it happen overnight. Keep pushing. I promise you, you'll feel better. Your body will thank you. You'll live longer, healthier, fight off disease. You're going to be a better person.
Amen. Well, that was beautifully said, Sarah. Thank you, as always. And to all the listeners, thank you for joining us. And I am Frank Twitterici.
And my name's Sarah Green, and this is the Overstood Human Podcast. Thanks for
We'll
listening.
see you next time.
Thank you for watching the Overstood Human Podcast. Be sure to join in next week. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Always consult with your physician before starting any exercise program or doing anything contained in this podcast.